This is a man who has spent his whole life telling the world, I am the greatest. You know, I am special, I am different, you know. And at the time when you reach the largest sense of exasperation with him, when you say, why don't you shut up because you're not, he does something to prove that he is.
This is Cassius Marcellus Clay. He's young, he's handsome. They know it. He's a poet, a prophet, and many people believe he'll be the next heavyweight champion of the world.
Now here's a guy who came into the gym and would hit the speed bag so hard that it would come off its hinges.
The guy had hands like hams, you know. They had to have special gloves made to work with and everything else.
Sonny Liston once said the only thing his old man ever gave him was a beating. If that's the case, his 7-foot wingspan and the largest fists of any champion in history must have come from his mother's side. Nobody knows how old he was. He may as well have risen out of the abyss. His face rested in a scowl. If looks could kill, half of Press Row would be underground. He didn't talk much. The loudest thing about Sonny Liston was the sound it made when he hit somebody. His wrecking ball fists swung at the end of his disproportionately long arms, demolishing anything they landed on. The real key to Sonny Liston was his jab. Though he was just 6 foot 1 inch, he could reach you from across the ring. His jab alone was a crushing punch. His right hand was a funeral bell. Liston is released from prison in 1952. The only people willing to finance Sonny's training were shady underworld figures who always had extra work for a man of Sonny's size and violent skill set.
After Sonny turned pro, it wasn't long before the mob, which controlled boxing, began to notice him. Not too long later, they took over control. He became a mob fighter.
Nobody could beat Sonny, and it became a problem for Floyd Patterson. Liston was taking harder fights than the champion, and he was winning them violently.
Cus D'Amato, who was Floyd Patterson's trainer-manager, he knew that Floyd Patterson probably didn't have a chance in hell of beating Sonny Liston.
Cleveland Big Cat Williams was almost as feared as Liston himself. Cleveland and Sonny's first fight was expected to be a slugfest. They wouldn't have it any other way. In the first round, Liston gets his nose shattered by Cleveland's left hook.
Cleveland Williams, right in Miami Beach. Discussion in his corner. Against the longer-armed Cleveland Williams, he is doing now.
Sonny stood his ground. His body punches echoed like a bass drum. It was a slugfest we hoped for. Sonny Liston did not lose slugfests.
Well, really established impressive record.
It took just 3 rounds for Liston to drop the big cat like a poacher.
Cleveland Williams battling to stay on his feet. Bang to the canvas again. 7, 8, 9. He's up at the count of 9. Reels into the corner, and it stopped.
They had a rematch before either of them got a shot at Patterson. It was a rerun of the first. with another quick, decisive knockout.
We shall see. There's a left that gets him, another hard right, a left to right. Freeman's in trouble. And he's slumping down again. There's the count. Very, very wobbly. He's blinking now. And the fight is stopped. Ernie Taylor stops the fight. Stops the fight at TKO in the second round.
The time came for Liston to get his title shot. Floyd Patterson's manager and trainer, Cus D'Amato, wanted nothing to do with fighting Sonny Liston because Cus D'Amato knew what would happen. Everybody seemed to know. Everybody told Floyd to avoid Sonny like the plague. Cus was all too happy to point to Liston's underworld managers as a reason to duck him.
Well, when a fighter started making excuses like he wouldn't want to fight another fighter because of certain things he have did, there must be some doubt in that fella's mind that he can't beat the other fighter.
Throughout his boxing career, Sonny Liston was a marked man. The St. Louis PD were aware of his underworld connections and made it a point to harass Sonny at every opportunity.
And he'd get stopped over and over and over. Father Murphy claimed it was harassment. The Denver police said he was an 18-karat pony.
The police was picking on Sonny. They would follow him.
After several altercations that generally went horrible for them as a department, Liston moved to Philadelphia. Sonny kept on having run-ins with the law while destroying his opponents in the ring.
Bethia looks like he won't make the round. He's down for the first time. 3, 4, 5.
In April of 1960, Liston makes another statement of intent. Roy Harris challenged Floyd for his title.
First time, Harris on the cautious side in the first round, fighting for the fight. Harris scores the first knockdown of the fight. Patterson is down, bringing the 17,000.
It took 12 rounds for Patterson to turn back the challenger with his machine gun speed.
A whistling right hand, and Harris reels and is down as Bushy Callahan, the referee, moves.
When Roy met Sonny, we found out that Liston was just a different caliber of puncher. Liston got suspended again after getting arrested again. Liston is on suspension as Floyd Patterson gets iced by Ingemar Johansson.
A left hook to the jaw, and there's that pointed right to the head, and the champion is down. There he goes again. As he senses victory. The referee, Ruby Goldstein, stops it.
Liston watches on as those two complete a trilogy. With Patterson coming out on top in 2 of 3 fights. When Liston makes his return, he takes on number 4 ranked Albert Westphal.
Liston, reputedly one of the finest left jabs among recent heavyweights.
It took less than 2 minutes for Liston to see Albert fall. Liston skewered him with a single right hand and dropped him on his grill like a shish kebab.
That's the first time Westphal has ever been on the floor.
And the winner on a knockout, Charles Sonny Liston.
Would you like to fight him again?
Oh, no.
Once was enough.
I do not want it.
Who do you want to fight in the ring in your next engagement?
The man got the title.
Floyd Patterson couldn't run anymore.
I think he's proved himself as far as being the #1 contender is concerned. I personally think that he has every right to fight for the championship despite his unfortunate background.
He'd held the title for 8 years, but the time had come to face the Reaper. In front of 16,000 booing fans in Chicago, Sonny's moment was finally here.
Now, you boys received your instructions from the Illinois State Athletic Commission. I'm here to enforce them.
Sonny Liston moves out to face the big chance of his 28 years of a turbulent life. Moving, make Liston miss often. The champion shaking off the effect of that left hook.
Sonny got just enough space for a short left hook that wobbled Floyd. As Sonny came off the ropes, he had an angle. The torque of Sonny's hook spun Floyd sideways as he landed. Sonny waited a lifetime to land that hook.
It took only 2 minutes and 6 seconds, but years of waiting, and the new champion is inarticulate in victory.
When Liston arrived home, he expected an outpouring of support from the city of brotherly love. No one but his family was there to greet him at the airport. Floyd Patterson faced Liston the second time due to a sadistic rematch clause in the contract. Not that he wanted to.
The first telling
Floyd faced his fate.
runs into a right uppercut, which sets up the challenge.
He tried to hold his own. He couldn't.
Here comes the final sequence in the knockout.
Before Floyd makes his second run, a young kid from Louisville who won the gold medal in 1960 is introduced. He shakes Floyd's hand, takes one look at Sonny, throws his hands up, and bolts out of the ring. The 170-pound medalist had been making waves, more with his words and with his hands. Cassius Clay took up boxing after somebody stole his bike.
Well, I started about 6 years ago. My bicycle was stolen, and my cousin was a boxer, and he told me that he would train me.
Even as a kid, Clay did things his way. He proved completely untrainable. He took beating after beating in sparring, like a sword refusing to be hammered into shape. The strange curve to his style made it cut through flesh all the quicker. Clay hadn't looked half as spectacular at heavyweight. He was supernaturally fast, with an unorthodox hands-down style. Problem was Cassius Clay never quite saw the left hook. In his 7th pro fight against veteran Alex Mitev, Clay was expected to demolish the journeyman.
In those punches, he may open a cut or two on Mitev. At 188 pounds, Clay is...
Time and again, Alex found a home for his left hook. Ali met him punch for punch and poured it on to finish him in the 6th.
Closing rapidly. Trickle of blood below it. That's Mitev. There's a knock.
He had another rough night in England with Henry Cooper.
It really is a fine looking at it. Cooper quick to pick up the left hook, and he's going in and he's hurt Clay. Running in the first 30 seconds. The left hook. sensational start to this fight. Coopers is right into Clay's face, and he's scoring.
The young man found his feet.
Can he beat Clay and put British? His left eye patched up.
And soon the subtle twist at the end of Clay's jab started to tear apart Henry's paper-thin skin. While Henry gave it his all, it turned into a bloodbath. His notorious left hook, known as Henry's Hammer, found its home on Ali's jaw. Ali's trainer put smelling salts under his nose and opened up a split glove to buy Clay more time to recover. The referee stops it in the middle of the fifth because Henry looks like he lost a fight to a box cutter.
Always booed. Everywhere I go, I'm booed. I like to be booed. That's why I fight hard. And you came in the ring with a crown on your head. Is that because I am the king? I understand you have a queen of England, but you don't have a king.
It seemed the Louisville Lip had a left hook problem. Clay was made a massive 7-1 underdog. As usual, he was too stubborn to hear any of it.
I ain't scared of nobody. You're gonna be a horse. It's gonna take a good man to whoop me. You can look at me, I'm loaded with confidence. I can't beat me. I had 180 amateur fights, 22 professional fights, and I'm pretty as a girl.
By the night of the fight, Sonny Liston was convinced Cassius Clay was literally insane.
I predict that tonight somebody will die at ringside from shock.
He's too ugly to be the world champ. The world champ should be pretty like me. Well, he told me to bet my life that you wouldn't go 3 rounds. Well, if you want to lose your money, then bet on Sonny.
Liston was now concerned, something he failed to be in training camp. Not only that, young Cassius Clay had made some friends of his own. In the weeks leading up to the fight, Cassius Clay would begin to attend services with Malcolm X, the fiery young minister who preached Islam and the ideals of black nationalism.
That the black man should have a hand in controlling the economy of the so-called Negro community. He should be developing the type of knowledge that will enable him to own and operate the businesses and thereby be able to create employment for his own people, for his own time.
There ain't a heavyweight in the world on 2 feet. There's not a heavyweight who can even keep up with me. I hit a man so fast, slow motion camera, take the seat.
After I beat Sonny Liston, you couldn't melt him and pour him on me again. If you like to lose your money, be a fool and bet on Sonny.
When the night came, Cassius Clay was still talking. The fight opened with the young Olympian dancing and jabbing.
Carrying his left hand dangerously low. We're halfway through round 1.
Poking, prodding, and enraging the big bear. Because Clay had something that Sonny never did. Speed.
And then right hand, the best punch of the fight so far. Long left lead is making the difference so far.
His fluidity is still shocking all these decades later. His feet flutter and his hands sting.
Less than 1 minute more.
While Liston was landing the occasional booming body shot, Clay was putting his combinations together and getting to him.
Right hand, that tap goes. Another one. Sonny wobbles. Sonny wobbles. Has him hurt.
Ali's feet, hands, and head all seemed capable of independent thought. He seemed always a step, a slip, and a punch ahead. Liston wanted his slugfest. Cassius wasn't going to give it to him. Then something went wrong in the fourth. Clay coasted and kept his distance, was seen wincing and blinking. Liston's corner was accused of putting liniment on his gloves. When he gets to his corner, he's blind and hysterical. Angelo Dundee washes out Clay's eyes and gives him one word of advice: run. Liston tried to take advantage and pounce. Ali took off running like a startled gazelle. Your hands can't hit what your feet can't catch. Soon enough, Clay's eyes started clearing, and now it was Sonny Liston who was getting caught. Sonny refuses to get off his stool to start the seventh. As soon-to-be Muhammad Ali does his signature shuffle, he couldn't wait to get on the mic and tell the world how wrong it was to doubt him.
I am the king of the world. Hold it. I'm pretty. Hold it. You're not that pretty. I'm a bad man. Wait. I took up the world. I took up the world.
A shoulder injury was semi-plausibly put forward as the reason Sonny refused to rise for round 7. Just after the fight, Elijah Muhammad decreed that Cassius Clay now be known as Muhammad Ali, as Clay formally converts to Islam.
Cassius Clay is a name no more, is that right?
Yes, sir. It's Muhammad Ali.
Liston promptly caught a litany of charges for drunk driving at top speed with no license and a loaded weapon. The rematch was held in the small town of Lewiston, Maine.
And he was deeply ashamed because this was the thing that gave Sonny his identity. He was the toughest guy in the world. And suddenly he woke up one morning and he wasn't the toughest guy in the world. So he decided to do something about it.
Because the Boston Garden got wind of all the threats and wanted nothing to do with it. Just 2,500 people showed up. A mere 2,500 eyes saw or didn't see the notorious Phantom Punch.
You'll note that Cassius wants to stay out in the center.
Liston charges at Ali, and Ali appears to catch him with a short chopping right. What happens next created one of the most immortal images of the 20th century. Muhammad Ali beating his chest, calling Sonny to his feet. It was yet another piece of scar tissue on Sonny Liston's sterling reputation. Because Sonny Liston has been hit a lot harder than this before, and it never seemed to bother him. There were immediate accusations that the fix was in. Sonny wouldn't lose a fight for the next 5 years. He wasn't ever considered for another title shot. Ali grew into an icon. Liston died young and under mysterious circumstances. In his last fight, just months before his death, he put 72 stitches into the face of the man who was the basis for the Rocky movies.
4 world champions I fought 9 guys in the top 10, and nobody ever hit me like that guy. I went to 10 rounds with him, broke my nose, my left cheekbone, and gave me 72 stitches. I was an intimidator until I fought Sonny Liston. Sonny Liston, I think, was possibly the greatest intimidator of all time.